Let me put a quick upfront warning here. I will be playing clips from videos I've taken with my phone of our daily life. They are extremely unpleasant to hear. They may be pretty loud to you as well. I'm sorry, and just a quick warning to probably play anything with headphones on rather than over speakers.
The amount of joy and happiness and singing and laughing and dancing and the things that Emily used to incorporate into her personality are all but gone. And what we have left is all on the negative, all drama, all emotional output, and all horrific.
How much, maybe 10, 20 minutes a day is positive and the rest is negative?
Yeah, if that.
If that. I've started this because for the past year and a half or so, my little sister Emily has become completely unmanageable and has steadily deteriorated to a point of violence, anger, and frustration at all points of the day, basically every single day. Let's start with one clip here. 11:47 a.m. This is what daily during the daytime life is like with Emily. Let's take a peek.
Mommy! Mommy! Baby devil, I'm going, Mom! Mommy!
What's the problem?
I want to talk to Mommy!
She's at work.
Dad won't let me talk to her!
She's at work.
Dad won't let me talk to her!
She's at work.
I want to talk to Mommy, please, and Dad won't let me talk to her!
She's at work.
I want Mommy now!
Productive conversation.
I want Mommy now!
She's been doing that for about 30 minutes because Dad tried to get breakfast. Yes, I know it's a little late for breakfast, but he has to get breakfast late because that's what Emily allows. This goes on through most of the day on top of constant demands. Isn't she just wonderful? You may be wondering why there are no visuals really being accompanied with the recorded clips that I will play here. Part of it is because when Emily has noticed that I have been recording her lately, it has set her off into a much larger amount of anger and aggression. I have one recording of that right now. It's very unpleasant, but I will play it just to give some context on why you're not going to be able to see any of the visuals to go with this, and you're going to have to just go on sound.
I'm shaking!
You shake every night. You do this every night.
You can put that away, Thor.
I'm shaking! I'm shaking!
I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing this. What do you want me to do?
He will put his phone away!
Thor, please go downstairs.
Put your damn phone away!
You,
Stop.
go back upstairs.
Stop. This is not Thor. This is her. This is
Put your phone away!
This is not me. This is her.
Don't you do it.
Oh, she's going to try to hurt someone.
Calm
He
down.
won't put his phone away!
You're going to ignore it like it doesn't
He
exist.
won't put his phone away!
I asked him to please.
Put your phone
I don't care
away!
what he's doing. This is not what has to happen. This is not good. This
Put
can't
your
be.
phone
This.
away!
Stop it. You can tear another shirt. You have none.
Emily,
Thor, please stop.
What you would have just heard is something that happens daily, all the time. It's not an outlier. It's not something that ends within a couple of minutes. It is hours at a time, every day, every night, from morning when she wakes up till night when she falls asleep. Sometimes she'll even do it through the night and won't even sleep. It's Tuesday, November 1st at 21st at 1 a.m. Emily is screaming.
No! Now!
And there's Mom leaving again. Another night. Another night, Emily screaming, shouting, yelling, kicking our family out of the house. Let's see how long it lasts. I'm sure it'll be a while. November 22nd, 4 a.m. Mom is getting ready to leave for work. Emily has spent the entire night keeping both Mom and Dad up, constantly whining, shouting, yada yada. She continues.
I'm not coming over there. I'm not doing another guy ready to text you. You don't want to sleep? I'd like to stay with you. Okay? Okay?
She is going to kill my parents at this rate. Please, God, we need help. If any of that recording sounded bad from our point, or that we might have mishandled things, I do want to mention that this is multiple days in a row where we got very little to no sleep due to Emily constantly day and night badgering us, screaming, and regardless of how much we try to provide for her or how much we do what she asks us to do, she still finds something else to scream about. Sometimes screaming just stuff that we can't possibly do, screaming I need help, or screaming nobody's helping me and people are ignoring me, even when we're trying our best to do anything we can for her. So if we sounded angry and out of sorts, it's because at the time we were very sleep deprived. I'm now going to bring Emily's father, Tom, in to talk about how she was born and how the developmental disability began in the first place.
All right, the pregnancy with Emily was normal. And, of course, the day came where Mom's water broke and I rushed her to the hospital. And when we got there, we went into the birthing room, and there was no doctor. It was what was called a birthing assistant working with us. And she gave my wife some medication for the pain, which, of course, didn't subside much because it's childbirth. And she offered her more medication, to which I said, "Won't that pass through the placenta and affect the baby?" And her response was, "Oh, men, they think they know pain." And she gave her a shot into the IV bag. And my daughter was born non-breathing, not responsive, in an overdose state, and had to be given an antidote in order to get her to start breathing, which of course affected the frontal lobe of her brain, effectively killing it. And the hospital just blew it off like nothing ever happened. And it wasn't until, years later when she started school that we really realized the level of the damage that had been done. Lawyers won't take the case because they have to have doctors to prove the evidence, and the doctors will not represent us unless there's hard science behind such in cases like cerebral palsy and that type of thing. But Emily was damaged out of neglect on the first day of her life by the hospital. And that's the story of Emily's birth.
At first, it was pretty manageable, and we could deal with it. She had some ADHD, some autism, anxiety stuff that we had to deal with, but it was mostly something that we could deal with until about 6 or 7 years ago when she started to become less and less manageable, to the point where my father closed down his business and became a stay-at-home dad because he has the ability to work from home. However, over the course of time, his ability to work has been completely devoured by Emily's desire for constant attention all day, at every second of the day. It is now at the point where my father has not worked for about 1.5 years, nearly 2 years, and has made very little to no money, while my mother has been the breadwinner of the family, working for an extremely large amount of hours every single week. We are financially in trouble. We are physically in trouble. Emily is eating us alive. She is absolutely destroying us. At this point in time, there are holes all throughout the house that Emily has kicked or punched or thrown something into. The destruction of property has been going on for 2 years now and has been steadily increasing day after day. She has ripped apart almost every single one of her shirts so that we have had to buy her a whole new wardrobe twice, and she continues to rip them apart. She, 1.5 years ago, broke the aquarium fish tank we had by slamming her chair into it, and that became an all-day cleanup job for us where it took us a while just to pick up all the glass and stuff. A couple months later, she then broke the terrarium for the pet snake that we had gotten her because she said it would help her out, and we had to pick up the glass and clean that up as well. She has broken over the past 2 years 6 doors that we have had to replace on the outside entrances of the house. Screen doors have been the primary breakages, with one heavy outside door. She broke a closet door that we've had to replace. She's broken 8 different monitors and or televisions in the house. And the list just continues to grow with each day, with her becoming more violent. She's even threatened my father with knives recently, threatening to stab him.
You beat when you're out of here.
You gonna stab someone, Emily?
First time he's beat the one out of here.
Stop it.
First time he's beat the one out of here.
Would you stop the drama? No, you're not.
You beat me too loud.
Why don't you just ask for what you want?
First time you beat too loud. You beat me too loud here.
We have been trying to get some sort of proper mental assistance or disability assistance for Emily and to place her somewhere for a while now. And my mom at least, has been trying to for a bit of time, but I feel like she's been kind of half-assing it because she's very scared of what may happen to her daughter due to a general distrust of the system that injured her in the first place. I have been trying to contact developmental disabilities for weeks now with little success. I was able to talk to one person, but they said we need to get an assessment test. I've been trying for 2 weeks to just begin to schedule that and have not been able to receive responsive contact from the York Psychiatric Hospital, which is where we would have the closest place that we could do it, in about an hour drive away from where we live. And I was told that it could be months before they could get us scheduled, before that could happen, and then it could be, based on the time scheduling it took me before, another few weeks after getting that, before I can even get her a case manager that would begin to suggest things that might be able to place her in some sort of program, some sort of outside living situation outside of her house, even just for a chance to breathe, even just someone to take her out of the house for as basically a babysitter for a day would be a miracle for us. And we can't even get that. She is unable to even sign her name. She cannot read or write. We've been begging for help for a while and getting little to none of it from the people that are supposed to be able to help. The people that we've been trying to get help from. Right now, our only choice for a place to place her would be prison. We could place her in prison where they would likely kill her for her actions and her activities, or at least that's the fear that my parents have and the reason that they won't do it. Now, I'd like to talk about the fact that we have tried very hard to get some assistance for Emily. We've been in and out of doctor's offices more times than I could count. She has been on medication ever since she was maybe 8 or 9 years old, different forms, from seizure medications to antipsychotics. A daily regimen of pills has been her way of living for over a decade now. Unfortunately, the antipsychotics tend to have a side effect, at least the ones that are amphetamine-based especially, of causing seizures in Emily, so those aren't really a good solution. And once in a while, we'd have something that seemed like it was working just for her to have a seizure. We've been through stuff like chlorpromazine, thoridazine, buscaprone, or buspirone, or whatever it is, lystiracatim, or lumateperone. There have been so many different, very difficult to pronounce medicine names that we've been through over the years, and nothing seems to work. On top of that, despite us talking about we want her to be able to calm down and stuff, we are giving her things that the doctor said for a normal person would make them drowsy, knock them into a feeling of calmness, sleepiness, stuff like that. But for Emily, it just doesn't work. The latest thing that we tried that the doctor has given us, he said, one of these should be enough to make someone drowsy and calm them down, and we can give up to 3 at a time, 3 times a day, 9 of these pills a day, and we've been doing that, and it has had no effect on her whatsoever. It hasn't slowed her down, it hasn't calmed her. She just continues to scream and shout and demand all day, every day. This is not something that is going to be solved by medicine for us. It's something that we cannot live with because it is so all-encompassing in our lives. So unfortunately, even though we've been trying so very hard to try and get something done in a way that we can prevent Emily from being forced out of the house in some way, shape, or form, it hasn't worked. None of the medicines have worked. None of the positive reinforcement for good behaviors have worked. None of trying to ignore negative behaviors or not reinforce it has worked. She just continues to assault us on a daily basis with no signs of stopping. And now we come to the final topic here, and one of the more difficult topics to try and talk about, and that is Emily's mother. For all the problems and difficulties that Emily gives us that are extremely difficult and unmanageable, they are compounded exponentially by the way that her mother handles things. Emily's mother is an extreme control freak, becomes very manipulative, angry, and lashes out when things aren't going her way and when things begin to get tough. She has accused my father and myself of not trying to take care of Emily at all. She has accused family members of not attempting or trying hard enough that we had come over to try and babysit when they decided that it was too much for them and they couldn't handle it. She has just been completely overbearing, mentally and emotionally exhausting towards the rest of us because she, for some reason, thinks that we aren't trying. The very first day that my mom took off this past week in order to show us that we're not trying hard enough, the day before that, she threatened that she was going to quit her job and she'll be the stay-at-home parent, and we better make sure we make X amount of money per week. Otherwise, we're going to lose all our utilities in the house, can't pay bills, etc., which is already a horrible thing to say the week before Christmas. And then the very first day that she took off for that, within 5 hours of trying to be Emily's primary caretaker, where my dad and I said, okay, we won't run interference, you can handle it, she called the police and the EMTs to come and take Emily to the hospital, and she couldn't even last a full shift that she would normally work, that my dad and I have been dealing with every single day for years and years and years. She couldn't last that before she had to call for help. And I don't blame her for that. I don't blame her at all for not being able to handle Emily. She is too much. But what I do blame her for is the absolute amount of emotional and mental abuse that she hurls at us. The fact that she says she's disappointed in us, that she says we're useless and worthless and we can't do anything and we don't try, is absolutely unfair. We have tried incredibly hard to take care of this child, and to compound the difficulty of trying to take care of this, I said child, adult, this 23-year-old adult, to compound that and make it worse by saying that we're not even trying is just disgusting and unforgivable. And then to, on the very first day, when trying it yourself, to cave and say it's too much for yourself and call the police because it was too much for you, is wrong. I'm even showing a set of messages that she texted earlier where she threatens to kill herself. She says she's disappointed in us and she hates everyone around her. And part of it is because of how hard we've been trying to push to get Emily placed in some sort of mental care facility, and she's pushing back and trying not to let us. It's to the point where she's threatened to throw us out, threatened to move out, threatened to kill herself, threatened all sorts of emotional, manipulative things that she possibly can, and my father and I are scared for ourselves just as much as we're scared for her and for Emily, and we feel like we even need to have an escape plan ready just in case, because the things that she does say and the way she acts has not been particularly good. Part of it's definitely because she's under a whole lot of stress, but another part of it is because she doesn't... Any time that she's taken Emily to the mental hospital, they're back within 30 minutes. She doesn't give them... She's been offered the ability to leave her for a multi-day period stay to attempt to find medications in a slightly more rapid pace, or to at least give us a break, and she never takes it, and we beg her to, and she won't. So part of this GoFundMe might have to be just for us to find salvation for ourselves as much as we're trying to help Emily. So I just wanted to be upfront about that, because we're honestly very scared about everything. I'm terrified my parents are going to die. My father's terrified that his wife is going to die. Both my parents are terrified their daughter could die. My mother is terrified we're going to leave her, and the way she's been acting is to be perfectly honest, so unacceptable and so horrible that we're considering it heavily. So that's how things have been for a while in my family. It's the day after Christmas while I'm recording this final closing bit. I've recorded these things in separate recordings just because it's emotionally very difficult to go through all this. I've had to stop and cry once in a while. Today, an adult protective services worker came out and was here long enough to actually see Emily in the way that she acts all the time. Emily was put on a nice face for the first 10 minutes or so, but this caseworker was here for about an hour, and that was long enough for Emily to get set off, start screaming, shouting, throwing things, threatening. She even threatened to stab us with a knife. Again, it was a pie cutter this time, so luckily not as sharp as an actual knife, but still. And the caseworker said that this is clearly gotten out of hand. It's beyond us, and my mom has finally come over to our side and agrees that we probably won't be able to take care of her ourselves. She is currently at the hospital as I'm recording this for a 302 involuntary stay for 72 hours as recommended by the caseworker, and the hospital should keep her there this time. Every time we've tried to do that by calling the crisis line before, Emily puts on her nice girl facade and says she doesn't need to be there. But the caseworker said that she should have the authority to force them to take her and say that it is not safe for her to be at home or anything. She further said that we're going to be able to expedite the process in trying to find a home for Emily, and that it could take a little bit of time to process everything, to find a place for her and make sure that the medical insurance that she has will accept it and all that stuff. And it could even cost an upfront cost of a couple $1,000s to get things started if the medical insurance is being difficult about it. And, well, we kind of need to make this happen no matter what. So part of the GoFundMe request is for us to have a safety net of funding in case we need it. The other part of it is for us to have funds available to fix some of the damage she's caused, holes in walls, doors that may still need to be replaced, ripped up sheets, stuff like that. So we're hoping for just a bit of capital for that to make sure that Emily gets into a place that she has to be in. She has to be in, otherwise she'll be left with nowhere to go, because at the rate she's going, she will kill my parents. So, thank you anyone who's willing to donate to us and help us out. We really appreciate it. Even if all you can do is signal boost this and get this to more people, get our story out there and have more people know what's going on, and that there are people out there that if they have a similar situation, that there may be a process that they can go through for help, and that people do want to help. Because for the longest time, we felt completely left out in the middle of the ocean with no sign of land. And we're just treading water for such a long time, barely keeping our heads above it. So again, thank you, anyone that's willing to help or just get the word out there. We really appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be able to get Emily into a care facility. Today's the first time I've seen my dad and my mom cry in years. Not since my dad's first daughter died. So this is really breaking them up. So any sort of good news would be a real spirit lifter too. Sorry for talking your ear off so long. This has been a long enough video. Thank you again, everyone. Even if all you did was listen, we appreciate it. Have a great day, Happy New Year and all that.